NBA star CJ McCollum recently revealed that a Raptors trade is imminent. So in today's video, we try to figure out exactly who is going to be the player on the move and how CJ McCollum exactly got this information. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. On this channel, I bring you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. Videos like this and live stream watch parties for almost every single Raptors game. So if you like what you see from today's video and you want more content just like this, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Help me on my road to 14,000 subscribers, and if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, don't forget to smash that like button. Help this video get on some more recommended pages to find some new Raptors fans to join the Amateur Hour Army. But the video is going to be about CJ McCollum. Recently had some comments on an ESPN branded show, an ESPN branded podcast about the Raptors talking about their struggles this season, why they have not kind of lived up to the expectations that they set for themselves with their 48 wins from last season, and spoke about how trades seem to be imminent with this team and that somebody is going to be on the move with this team in the very near future. We're rapidly approaching that February 9th trade deadline, and executives around the league are queuing up to see exactly who Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster are going to have on the trade block here. The Raptors, recently with that loss last night to the Milwaukee Bucks, things are really down. There's going to be that game against the Timberwolves, then 2 home games before a daunting 7-game Western Conference road trip. And that ends February 5th, right before that February 9th trade deadline. And I feel like that West Coast road trip could really be the final nail in the coffin for this team, and that players are going to be on the move. The Raptors are going to be looking for assets. It's not really a secret at this point that the Raptors are going to be one of the biggest players at the trade deadline. We just don't quite exactly know if that's going to be the Raptors buying at the deadline or selling at the deadline. But CJ McCollum, a player who is really trying to get himself started with a media career before the end of his career here, speaking about the Raptors here, he seems to have the intel on what exactly is going to happen with the Raptors, and he spoke about it on the show. Let's listen in here.
Something's going to happen. I don't know what. There's rumblings about certain players on the team not being happy and due to tampering. I can't speak to that, but I think they're going to move someone at some point. I don't know what type of picks they have lined up, but something needs to change because they're way too talented.
So he doesn't exactly reveal all the information here. We kind of have to piece it together here. He does provide the fans with the clues, however, to try and really figure out how things are going to go down. And I think I've kind of cracked what is going on in this situation. And I find it really interesting that he had to explicitly say he can't say because of tampering purposes. So he has some information here that he is withholding, and rightfully so. But there's 3 specific things that I want to draw on from what we got from CJ McCollum in this clip. I recognize that this video is a few days later than it should have been, but based on my schedule, this is the best that I could do. Hopefully you guys still enjoy. So there's 3 specific things that I wanted to touch on, as I said. The first one being, who exactly is CJ McCollum talking about, and what would CJ McCollum know about this situation? So for starters, CJ McCollum, we can kind of trace his career. Spent pretty much his entire career with the Portland Trail Blazers. Recently moved to the New Orleans Pelicans, where he is really thriving. It really seems like he's kind of taken a new level for this team, and the Pelicans look like a threat, like they can win an NBA championship this season. CJ McCollum is a good player. CJ McCollum is really trying to build up the media career, as I spoke about. Last year in the playoffs, had some time on some ESPN panels where he just deciphers the game. And you know what? I think he's a well-spoken guy. It seems like he is a good fit for this role, but now we need to figure out exactly what player could he be talking about. And I think all signs point to the exact same player, the same player in this situation. CJ McCollum is talking about the player that is most likely, according to reports, to get traded by the Raptors. That is Gary Trent Jr. And the reason that we can say that, first of all, Gary Trent's name has been all over the media, talking about how the Raptors have seemingly made him available for trade. Gary Trent Jr. is the only player that I can see CJ McCollum really having direct contact with, because they are former teammates. If, like, the best guess you can give for any player having contact with CJ McCollum, expressing any of these concerns with him, it's probably Gary Trent Jr. Now, maybe they haven't been in direct conversation, but the most logical way to link CJ McCollum to information on a player within the Raptors is Gary Trent Jr. I think that makes it quite obvious here, and I think CJ McCollum really is kind of alluding to that with the way that he's speaking. And Gary Trent, it's a weird one because I think like what the Raptors lack, Gary Trent brings a lot of it. He brings a lot of shooting to this team. He brings a lot of shot creation to this team. And when he's engaged, and lately I feel like he has been, he's a pretty good defender for the team as well. Like there's so many two-way athletic forwards. It's nice to just have a guy who's focused on getting buckets in the shooting guard position. No less a 23-year-old who I think we can get on a pretty good contract at the end of this season. But there are conversations. Can you get him on a contract at the end of the season, or is he going to go away for free? That is going to be a worry for the Raptors. But going back to CJ McCollum, and the second thing that I wanted to discuss here, something about CJ McCollum appearing on this show just doesn't really sit right with me. You know, everybody has the right to do their own hustle. CJ McCollum, he wants to start building this media career so that when he's finished with his playing career, he can just seamlessly fit into that role, slide into that, and it's building up. As far as CJ McCollum, as a person trying to build that career, he could not be doing any better right now. And you know what? From this situation, when he spoke about the Raptors, spoke about how he doesn't want to get in trouble for tampering, this is a very clickable sort of thing. There's a reason I'm talking about it here. People clicked on the videos. They've clicked on articles. If you're watching this video, you clicked on the video. CJ McCollum did a great job of getting his name out in the media. But something just doesn't sit right with me when there's a player talking about other players getting traded. Like, even though he barely gave out any information, something just doesn't really sit right with me about that. And I just don't think that's really CJ McCollum's place at the moment. Like, at the moment as a player, I don't think this is his place to speak on these matters initially. But then when you go a little bit deeper and you realize that CJ McCollum, not just a player in the NBA, CJ McCollum is the president of the NBA Players Association, now it gets really kind of on my nerves here. I really just don't think this is the spot for CJ McCollum to be discussing other players. Like, as far as talking about the league, talk about the players, talk about the Raptors' struggles, sure, but completely alluding to the Raptors like they have a big trade coming. I don't want to talk about what I know. I just think, like, in this situation, this is an area where CJ McCollum probably just shouldn't even speak on this in any way. You can talk about the team, talk about the struggles, talk about maybe what they need, but I don't think speaking specifically into trades that are going to happen, even with the very, very minimal information that he gave, I still think that is too far for a player to go, let alone the president of the NBA Players Association. Again, CJ McCollum, it's within his right to do whatever he wants. He didn't break any rules. He can do whatever he wants. My opinion doesn't matter, but my opinion is that just doesn't quite sit right with me. And the third thing I wanted to talk about with this situation is where and how is CJ McCollum really getting this information? CJ McCollum, is he getting it from a direct source? Is he getting it from anywhere else? And I think to this one, going back, kind of backtracking on that first point that I made in this video, all the information is out there about who the Raptors have seemingly made available. All of the signs are pointing towards Gary Trent Jr. being the player that is available here. I don't know if there's any like inside intel that CJ McCollum would have in this. I just think that it's out there. Like, even I can report on the fact that Gary Trent Jr. has been made available for trade because there's been so many very good credited reporters who are talking about that story. The Raptors are in a perilous situation this season. They are 20-25, a monster schedule coming up to end off January. Sure, they have the easiest win-loss for the rest of the season, but in the period that is going to solidify what they're going to be right before the trade deadline, there is that daunting 7-game West Coast road trip that I spoke about there. It's very easy to look at the Raptors and say, 20-25, they're supposed to be a playoff team. They have a tough schedule coming up. They have guys in expiring contracts. They have reportedly made one available to trade. It doesn't take rocket science to put 2 and 2 together here to figure out exactly what's going on with the Raptors this season. Now, what people still don't quite know when it comes to the Raptors, and nobody has reported on because nobody can report on, because I don't even think the Raptors, the front office, Masai Ujiri, I don't even think they know right now. What is going to be the big story is what the Raptors are looking to get for these players. Are they looking to get players that help them win games right now? Are they going to go after a package for Jakob Poeltl to bring him into their team and upgrade their team? Or are they going to be looking for draft assets? Are they going to be looking for young developmental assets who they have a little bit more control over from a contractual standpoint? These are the bigger questions that are not going to be solved here. But as far as the Raptors players that are going to be made available, you know, Scotty Barnes is not going to be available. Siakam probably is. I mean, Siakam's really, I really don't think he's going to get traded because of the valuation the Raptors are going to have on him. Other than that, like, if there is a suitable offer, a very suitable offer for some, but just a suitable one for a guy like Gary Trent, or a little bit more than suitable for a guy like Fred VanVleet, I don't think the Raptors front office is really going to have much hesitation in pulling the trigger on that one. It does feel like we're trending towards this situation where we are looking for draft picks. We are looking for, how good can we make our draft pick with the way the season is going to go, to put that in a polite state, rather than just flat out saying the Raptors are going to be tanking for the rest of the season. But it's time to kind of acknowledge what the Raptors are, and more importantly, what the Raptors are not at this point in the season. So overall, on the CJ McCollum thing, I think he does provide us with the piece of information that it does feel like the Raptors are about to pull the trigger on something. I think they're going to wait until after that game against, I think it's Memphis, the last game of that road trip on February 5th, to really make their final decision. But I think what we can get from CJ here is that it does feel like a trade is on the table and a trade is imminent. However, it doesn't provide us any sort of additional information into, well, who's going to be involved. It just kind of seems pretty obvious here that if he's talking about anybody, it would be Gary Trent Jr., but this is all information that we kind of had in advance. It just feels like all CJ has done, to his credit, is reveal that it's a lot further along than maybe the information has made it out to be. And credit to him for that. I just don't really think it's his place to discuss trades in this fashion. But what do you guys think? Do you have any issue with it? Who do you think is going to be on the move? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that wraps up for me for today on Amateur Hour Sports. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more videos like it and Raptors watch parties for virtually every single Raptors game, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We'd really appreciate the support on a road to 14,000 subs. And if you did enjoy, please make sure you hit that like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. This week, I'm going to be doing a stream tomorrow as the Raptors play the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll have a video on Friday. Then I'm on vacation for 4 days. So even though there's a game Saturday, Sunday, no streams there. Monday, Tuesday, I'm on vacation. No videos there. Going to be a 4-day void here. Hope you guys can forgive me. I'll be back on Wednesday as the Raptors, I believe, take on the Boston Celtics. We'll see you there. The Sacramento Kings. I'll see you there.